January 28th. What happened? Well, I actually was in Florida and witnessed the explosion of the Challenger. Now, so many years later, there's actually a movie on the inquiry and what actually happened behind the scenes. And it's a captivating movie that features two stars that I love, William Hurt and our next guest, Bruce Greenwood. And Bruce, what did this role and script mean to you?
Well, first of all, the script was so tight, you know, but also the reality that the culture within NASA at the time made people unwilling to speak the truth, in spite of all kinds of markers that said, look, you can't go further with this until you acknowledge that there are problems. But off they went.
Well, I'll tell you that, I mean, this movie had me captivated. I mean, I thought I knew a lot of behind the scenes stuff that happened, but it really illuminated a lot. And these characters you guys brought to life so well, you and William. Did you feel like these were written specifically for you?
Well, I would tell you what, I mean, realizing how much homework William does, because I spent a little bit of time off screen with him, you know, just hanging out. He's a tremendous researcher and lives and breathes what he's working on. He's deadly serious about it. And the subject matter deserves that, you know. But that's also his method, and watching him absorb all that information, all the research, and then bring it onto the floor as an actor was something that, for me to watch, was really exciting.
Well, the roles are magnificent, and it's fascinating to see how much time it takes to really prepare to deliver a performance like this. But I was getting frustrated because people had to drive across D.C. to meet with one another. And I was like, why didn't they just pick up a cell phone? And then I realized, oh, that's back in the 80s when this happened. What was it like to play in the 80s?
Well, it's a reminder that at that time, information was a lot easier to hold on to. You know, I think it's less likely that that kind of thing would happen now because somebody would find a way to blow a whistle somewhere. But back then, not so much.
The other thing I want you to share with our audience is the uniqueness of this movie and how it parlays into two different channels that are playing it, not only Discovery Channel, but Science.
Well, it's one of those things that's particularly appropriate because it's on Science and Discovery, in that science, you can find truth in science. And if you continue to ask questions and continue to be curious, you will discover things. And if you're willing to take things at face value, particularly as a scientist, but I suppose in anything, you're maybe not getting as deep as you could.
You know, Bruce, let's talk about your character, because, I mean, in Science, these guys were going right down to the details to get the answer, and as it was building momentum, how was it affecting your character?
I don't know exactly, but I imagine that Katina realized early on that there were so many problems within the construction of the shuttle, from the fan blades in the motors to all kinds of things, that he had to begin to lead Feynman towards the cause of this particular accident, because Feynman was discovering so much in his own research that Katina realized, along with Sally Ride, that they had to give him some breadcrumbs to follow. And sure enough, they did. So that was so that they had to dole those out in such a way that Feynman could continue to do his other research, but ultimately be led towards his final conclusion.
You know, Bruce, one of the emotions I had throughout this movie, and I couldn't believe how it tapped into my anger of how many people were obstructing getting to the truth. Do you surprised how that director was able to pull that out of this?
Well, no, because it's almost impossible to believe that in as sophisticated an industry as NASA is, that they were willing to let science not speak the truth. I mean, they had this safety factor of 3 thing going on, in which the engineers and scientists there said, well, because the O-rings in tests only burn, and in previous flights only burned 1/3 of the way through, we have a safety factor of 3, which in fact is nonsense. It means there's a safety factor of 0 because they're failing. But they were willing to, you know, just say, yeah, it's a safety factor of 3. I mean, it's astonishing.
Well, Bruce, we just are grateful for all the dedication you put into this film, into this role. It's a must watch, so thank you for that. And before we go, you've had a tremendous track record of success, but along your journey, Bruce, what have you learned that you can share with the rest of us as we pursue our dreams?
I don't know. I just find them as I get older, and particularly as an actor, of course, if you speak less and listen more, you learn more.
Well, there's no doubt we are going to learn a lot and challenge ourselves a lot in how we operate daily just based on this movie. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Conn.